Welcome to the collective. Let's see how long the dogs stay quiet. I am taking orchids and I am splitting them because they're root bound in their pot. All of that was this one, so I thought it would be fun to show you what I'm doing with this huge set. So you can see there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4 plants in here. And look at that, it's a beautiful flower, isn't it? And they're lightly scented. And I know what they are, but I don't know off the top of my head. Anyway, I'm going to separate them, put them in separate pots. But you can see the roots on the bottom once you scrape away some of this old stuff. This is orchid mix that I use. So we'll see what we can do. The big part is that they've wedged their air roots in the bottom of the pot. And this is a special pot with holes in it for orchids. So I want to make sure that there's no roots kind of going out and going crazy. And there's a little air root there, but whatever. So we'll gently coax it out. You don't want to pull them out because the roots are fragile. Oh, well, this one came right out, so that's good. You can see how root bound it is. So the part is to tease these apart as gently as we can. And all right, after yelling at the dogs, you can see that these little bulb parts, at least for this particular type of rose, there's 1, 2, 3 right here, plants. And they all need to be teased out because these roots are pretty fresh and fragile, like kind of like noodles. But yeah, you can tell they're healthy. They're all white and they're not shriveled up. So let's, I like to start from the bottom, and just kind of tease all this. It's good to have orchid mix because see the big chunks? The soil just has big chunks in it. And so I just take out that and the rocks or whatever else is in there and just loosen the soil gently. And all of these plants are strung together. They're attached, not just by roots together, but also just attached to each other, like the bulbs separating into more bulbs. And this was all one plant. All of these things here were just one plant. And now I've made, what, 5 of them? 5 more plants from them, and then they've done it again where now, see, I'm taking most all of the roots. I'm taking most all of the soil and the rock and the mix. And yes, I do recommend orchid mix with the big, you know, it looks like wood chips almost with rock in it. So let's do some division. So I'm going to gently pry this. Now you can see this wasn't being too healthy anyway, but it's still a good root. But yeah, it didn't come out with much roots. But don't worry, this is a root in itself. So it should be all right, but I'll put it in with another bulb, you know, just in case it does die. So let's see what else we got. So here, we'll go through here. And yeah, you don't want these guys root bound too much, but you can see in the center. And you want to just gently, because if you rip it off and just pull them out, you're not, all these will just come off and it'll look like just the bulb that I just gave you. Let's try one at the end. And you just want to tease them out gently. Find out where they cross and then start uncrossing them. I know it's kind of hard to see. And untangling the things will help too. Here we go. So these will all grow back. They're all a happy kind of weird how this stuff works. And in the jungle, most of these would probably be in the air. And that's why they don't really need too much soil. I have a vanilla orchid and it just has tons of these air roots coming down. Alright, and they're just used to very moist climates, which is why if you try to raise these in your house for too long with 30% humidity in a typical house, I guess, you don't want to do it. Let's see. So these guys are kind of old, crappy, you know, roots. And so you just want to be gentle and just take your time. And let's see. So yeah, here's a bunch of roots in here. And you just want to, you know, see which one's going to give for you first. because they will kind of go into separate bulbs, and you just kind of want to work them out like this. I know that's a lot of talking, but it's kind of, you'll get the feel of it. You just want to tease them loose with the roots. So you can see where this is kind of fibrous in here, hopefully. All right. And they'll kind of tell you which way they want to, there we go. And just like that, you have one separated. I know, it's like having a bait. Now you can see there's another one here, and it's attached to this main root here. But let's see if we can tease it apart, because it has roots on it too, right here. So yes, you saw where I just tore it, right in the middle. And so make sure each half has roots. So it does. So good, there's 2 more plants. And then that means it will come loose easier. There we go. I'm just pulling gently. They're like I said, they're like little noodles, and you want to tease them apart. There's probably some orchid guy like going, oh my gosh, how can you do this? But look at these nice long roots. So I do make happy plants, and I generally don't do them when I have flowers on them especially. But it's in the winter, and I got other uses for the greenhouse, so this is a good time to do it. I wouldn't do this if you want to like display your plants or are planning on doing that, because of course, here we go. Because you know, the flower is probably going to die, or they're not going to be doing too well. But that's alright. I'm not in it for the show. They bloom for me like twice a year, and the flowers last a long time. So I'm just breaking apart the fiber part. As long as this and the other one have roots on them, they're going to be fine. So there. That is how you, or I at least, separate the orchids. And then I put them in pots. And it'll generally involve me putting just a little bit of stuff like this in the bottom. Just a little bit. And then putting this in here. And maybe I'll take some of the roots and put them through the holes. The air holes that I was telling you about these special orchid pots. And I like these pots too because they hold moisture. So plastic isn't that well, even though I'm going to do that for some of these smaller plants. For, you know, until they get the roots, and then they'll be all right. And then I'll put them in more terracotta pots. And each of these pots does have a tray I usually have on them that is also terracotta. And they just sit there and get moist, and they have fun. And then they look like this. This is the mother one that I bought. It is huge. There are so many. I mean, it is so root bound. So I can't wait to start cracking that out. So I hope you learned something. Please like in the comments. Tell me how you feel about it and how maybe you do your own orchids, or if you had any questions. And be sure to like me and subscribe to the Tomanaka Collective. And it was good to see you. And I hope to make more videos like this very shortly, because I'll tell you some exciting news shortly in another video. So a few points that I like to make while I'm doing this is that it's good when you have a massive thing like this to have at least one baby attached to it, so that you get the roots. So I wouldn't take this off. Another thing is damaged roots are, you know, the roots should find their way to the right bulb pretty easily. So if you find one of these guys and there's hardly anything there, it'll still be okay. Just take off a dead leaf, but this is going to be fine. Anything with the thin string on it is a stripped root that was damaged, but it should still be okay. Again, I don't recommend doing this with you know, flowering orchids. I would also get a bunch of rocks to put in the bottom of each of your pots, and that will help with drainage, because you don't want them to get sitting in water. And then you fill the rest with the orchid mix. Well, you know, you put the plant in there now, put some of the roots through here, and then, you know, you stick them out. Make sure the roots even outside get wet too. So yeah, they're a little finicky, but I keep mine in my little greenhouse that you've seen, and it works out okay for me. Again, you just want to make sure every little bit gets a root. And even if it, you know, doesn't by mistake, I would maybe put one in, but with another one that is okay. You can trim some of this dead stuff off. And, you know, there you go. Isn't it pretty? It's been 2 years since I've done this last, so they've grown quite a while. And make sure you use the new stuff. So this is old. This will go good in the compost or just throw out in the yard. But definitely use new stuff with this, with the new fertilizer, all that stuff in it. And then you'll be good to go. Now the problem will be to find pots for all of these. For fun, you can see my light, a big avocado hog in the light with my grapefruit. And then my dogs, of course, are playing. And that's always fun to watch. And then you can see my euphorbia over there in the corner. That was split off from one big cactus and put into multiple ones. So I'll have to do with that. I booted everything out of the greenhouse. In another video, I'll show you why. It'll be exciting. Do a little revision of the collective while we come back online for the season. And I hope you'll be there to help join me. Wow, guys. 40 plants out of the, 5 pots that I had. So that's incredible. So I'll pot all these up and throw them back in the greenhouse.